Mhm.
Oh, so I've got a guest with me today. Her name is Arya, and
Hello.
hi, and she is my exact type twin. So we are both officially typed as MF, SITE, blast, play, sleep, consume. So I'm delighted to discover a type twin, and we're going to be talking about our types and kind of comparing our experiences. So, Arya, how did you get into objective personality?
Oh, that was actually a pretty interesting experience. I have been into typology for a pretty long time already. I have been both into quote unquote the regular MBTI and also Enneagram quite a bit. And I've always struggled to find out my MBTI type. Like I typed as an INFP actually for a very long time, but it kind of didn't feel right. So I went on a server actually that was all about typology. And I was going into a please type me a thread, and I was like, "Hey guys, I'm super confused about my type. Can someone help me?" And then someone was like, "Hey, sure, I can type you. You can record like an audio for yourself. I can help you, no problem." And then it turned out that this person who helped me was actually typing by the objective personality system. And at first I was like, I don't know. Like we have so many different systems already. I kind of want to know like my universal MBTI type, you can say. And I didn't know like if I wanted to get type binary system, but we kind of still went through with it. Um and it was an interesting experience. I found the system to be very intriguing. Um but we were like, from my understanding, still both learning about the system, so the typing wasn't like 100% reliable. Um, and I kind of like accepted a type, but then like ended up discarding it because I didn't really see it to be very fitting. And I just went on because like I didn't really want to stay with objective personality long term. I was like, yeah, this is just like something fun we did, blah blah blah. So I kind of went back to the original MBTI and got increasingly frustrated with all the different definitions flying around about functions and what they are and are not, and everyone's saying different things. So I don't know how it happened. I kind of stumbled back into objective personality on YouTube, and I kind of got into watching the videos again. I was like, you know what? I might as well get typed and join the class because I kind of wanted to know what they would say about my type. So basically, that's how it ended up being. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. So, so it's kind of interesting because I thought I was an INFP too for a while. That was one of the types I considered for myself, and I also thought that it some things didn't feel right about it. So, so I guess what things didn't feel right about INFP? Why were you doubting that type?
So I think the thing that was floating around about FI in specific, because everyone was talking about how FI had like those very strong values, and if you cross those values, you would like get very emotional and just like stand against the entire world if someone would be against it, and if you see there's an injustice. And I've never like had this very strong, extremely strong moral compass. I feel like I had some sense of justice, but it wasn't like this overwhelming feeling. And I felt like also while I struggled with identity so much, like I don't know, it wasn't like such a huge theme for me because most of the time I actually struggled placing what I actually believed in because I kind of listened to what everyone else was thinking was worth valuing, I could say. And I often was trying to find what I really believed in, so I got a bit confused about the INFPs being such moral beings, you could say, even though there are some people that say that's not what an INFP is about, and there's like some conflicting things about it. But that's just how I looked at it. And also I wasn't like 100% sure about NE and how it would apply to me. I was seeing a ton of SI, I wasn't at times sure if I would have an E, because I at times would try to be creative, but my main issue was I wasn't having any ideas.
Hmm.
And I was sitting there like, okay, I need to come up with an idea, and then I would need to brainstorm and write stuff down to have the options. I was like, no, that can it be that my N is that high? And I thought, yeah, I'm probably looping. It's like FISI loop or something, because I'm very stressed. Like I'm very stressed in the recent years. I was like, yeah, I'm looping, but now apparently I was looping for 5 years, and I was like, okay, I haven't used NE for 5 years. Maybe there's something wrong. So that's where I was kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I can kind of relate to what you said because because it's like for me with values, it's like yes, I mean there are some things that I have strong values about, but it's not like an all or nothing kind of thing like they
Mhm.
describe in the like in the INFPs. Um, and then about creativity and ideas, it's like am I creative enough to be an NE? It's kind of like I valued creativity and I really
Mm.
valued in other people that had like these great ideas, but then I always felt like I had hard time coming up with truly original ideas myself. And I also thought I had strong SI. It's like, well, okay, I can kind of relate to this, but why do I have such strong SI? And
Hmm.
that was always in the back of my mind, and as it turns out,
Yeah.
I lead.
And it's interesting experience that I've made. I've been actually been pretty creative in my childhood, back when I didn't have this idea that everything I do must be applicable in reality. But I feel like the older I got, the more I had this thought of, okay, but if I do this idea, if I have this idea, will it work? And often the answer was no. So I kind of put the ideas to the side, and that
Yeah.
kind of killed my creativity, and I hate it.
And I think that's that's the TE coming out there. The TE wants well, an objective personality, the TE wants things to work,
Hmm.
and they're responsible to make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So basically, for example, I was trying to write a story recently, and I made this huge project out of it because it needs to be perfect, of course. And what I did, I already created the entire world, and etc. etc. And I wrote out how the characters are interacting with each other, etc. 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 But then when I actually went to work and I needed to apply these into written words, I wrote one chapter and I was like, okay, I have no idea how I should continue this, and I kind of dropped it, unfortunately. And it happens every single time when I try to write like something creative that is not really logic driven, and kind of a shame.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's kind of hard for me to really write creatively and kind of get into the NF because for me it's always like, okay, does this make sense? Does this work?
Mm-hmm.
Is this clear?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And I was thinking, okay, maybe something is holding me back, or is this some sort of, I don't know, because it used to be so easy for me, but so I thought like, no, what I experienced as a kid, that must be my type, and what I experience now, this is just, I don't know, stress, whatever, but I didn't want this to be my real type.
okay. So I guess that's kind of the next thing I wanted to ask you about was like when you got your type back in OPS, like were you surprised and which part surprised you the most?
Hmm.
And how did you process your type?
Okay, that's actually a pretty interesting question, because while I typed for a pretty long time as an INFP, I got another forum where I kept asking, because that one person who typed me in OP actually typed me as an INFJ, kind of funny. But I was like, no, that's also not kind of right. So I went into a forum where I wrote like pages probably of sensory information, funny, and the person who actually read all this was like, okay, I see you are very clear in the sensory, and I see that your speech is very to the point, and you always have a point that you want to bring across. and they were like, yeah, I think you are an ISFJ, and they saw a lot of FE because I always cared about how my actions would influence others and caring what others think about me. And I don't want to annoy people. That's a big one, and that's always at the back of my mind. So everyone was like, yeah, you have FE and SI, and so that's kind of how ISFJ came to be for me. So now, like, going to my typing results, actually for objective personality, I kind of tried to discard everything that I've learned so far about typology, because as we learn, the definitions are a bit all over the place, and we have like different coins in objective personality. So I was like, okay, I'll try to forget everything I've learned and people told me about my type, supposedly, and I would just learn everything by myself. And what I came up with, I was like 99% sure I would be OE, actually. I thought for sure I would be OE, like either NE or SE, because like possibly because I'm diagnosed with ADHD, and like NE is very associated with ADHD, and I have like a lot of struggles to organize and stay organized, and I keep forgetting things, and I'm like kind of all over the place, what feels like to me, and I was like, yeah, for sure, OE, because I am always wanting new, and so I was expecting some type of ESFP, possibly. I kind of knew I would be a sensor, and I also kind of like, I wasn't really sure on the E versus DI coin, because I felt like I may be too selfish to be a DE. That's what my reasoning was. Like DI would hurt me more, and if it hurts, it must be my type. So I was expecting some kind of ESFP, because I thought, yeah, I'm probably an observer because I can see my deciders pretty okayish. So when I got my type back, all this long story to this point. When I got my type back and I saw SiTe, my first thought was, what the hell? What is this? so it wasn't like that far away from my ISTJ typing, so I wasn't like caught in shock or something, but I was like, I didn't expect to actually come out as an IJ, because that was the last like human need that I thought I would be, because I don't see myself as controlling at all or organizing that much. So I was intrigued, and it took me like a couple minutes to really adjust, but then I was like, yeah, okay, I can see it. I think the things that surprised me the most were not the SI at the top, but actually the TE in second place, because I was like super sure I would be a feeler still.
Yeah. And I
And
think that the thing is that I think TE and FE are kind of similar in a lot of ways, because both are kind of concerned about the tribe and what others think. It's just that TE is kind of more about making things work effectively, and does this make logical sense, and FE is kind of more about the feelings side of it.
mm,
And I think I mean, just to skip ahead here, but if your TE function is feminine, I've heard Dave and Shannon say that sometimes that can look like FE to other
hmm
people.
interesting.
Be-
I
Because
think I've heard.
ISFJ was a type that was also another type that I kind of considered for myself. But then it was like, I don't think my FE is that good, or at
hmm
least not as good as the ISFJs in real life that I know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Interesting,
yeah,
interesting.
right.
So I thought like my FE is good in the sense that I am kind of scanning the social temperature, and I'm kind of looking around, is this
Mhm.
person happy with me?
Yeah.
And but the thing is, I'm super bad with this. Oh, I feel so sorry for you. Oh, I feel so happy for you. I can't do this. So I
Yeah,
was always
and
feeling like
it's
I'm
like
failing
for
at
me,
FE.
it's like I know I should say those things, but it just feels kind of fake,
Yes.
like and they're gonna know that that's fake. I'm supposed to say that, but do I really feel it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know, yeah. So
It's this thing, like I am then standing there like kind of paralyzed. So do I go in for the hug? Would it be weird? And it kind of feels wrong, but I'm supposed to do something. So okay, what am I supposed to do out of these two options? I guess I will go in for the hug. Awkwardly hugs.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, so I think when I got typed in OPS, well, I kind of started thinking then the OPS system, I was an IP because I related a lot to, well, I want to be personally significant. I want to
Mm-hmm.
mean something in this world. And I'm super sensitive to negative judgments by other people. So
Mm-hmm.
that's but I wasn't sure like am I INFP or INTP, I could kind of, because I thought I was in touch with what I valued, which is FI.
Mm-hmm.
But then I could relate to Demon FE because
Yep.
I was bad at FE. Um, and I thought I was more, and I wasn't as sure about any versus versus SI, because I thought, well, um, because I thought my observers were balanced. I thought, well, yeah, I can organize sensory
Mm-hmm.
details okay, but then, I can see different concepts. And I posted a video of myself to the Objective Personality Facebook group, and the majority of them thought ISTJ. And so then I kind of watched it again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can see this now. Why did I ever think that? So when I actually submitted my video to Dave and Shannon, I wasn't too surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what I was surprised at was my animals, because
Oh
I
yeah.
did not think I
Oh
thought it
yeah.
was play last, and
Same.
turns out I had play second. So yeah.
That's so funny. That's so funny because I also thought like I might possibly an INTP because of this feeling of tribe hate. But
Hmm.
then I couldn't see TI savior whatsoever. So I was like, what is this?
Hmm.
But yeah, I wasn't very surprised by Consume Last because I kind of had a suspicion I might not be that as good as at Consume as I
Hmm.
would love to be. I was surprised by Blast first because in my opinion I'm super bad at being like I'm good at explaining things, I'm good at teaching, but I'm like bad at this is what you're supposed to do. And I was like, that's what Blast is, like controlling and telling people what they should do. And I'm like, no, that's not what I do.
Um, well, I think when I was younger, I was a lot more bossy, telling people what to do. And now that I've gotten older, people don't like that. So I think I'm a lot more careful about it. Um, what I didn't it's like I knew that I had to be blast first because of the human needs. So as I started to study the human needs more, it's like I could see like the organize and the tribe, but so 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 it's like I had to be blast first, but some of this stuff about blast I didn't relate to, like if you're blast, you don't take in information, you're just bullshitting, and that's what I didn't relate to
Mm,
because I will respect the information, and I feel like I do need to take it in and understand it before I teach it to anybody else. And that part of it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And
mm-hmm,
it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, yeah, I'm
mm.
good at teaching and explaining, but this idea that we're just bullshitting information. um,
Yeah, I would call it bullshitting information. It's like kind of different to explain. It's like when I'm going through my day, I'm like kind of storing my thoughts and facts into this as I system. Like I'm trying to explain it because I haven't had that much time like to make sense of it in my head yet because my results are still pretty fresh. But from what I understand, I'm like kind of try to put my like thoughts and facts and experiences into my SI system. So whenever I'm talking, I have like immediate access to it. So what it helps me with is basically that whenever I set like an endpoint, this is what I want to achieve in my conversation, I can basically infinitely go on and talk, and I don't really need to take a break, as I think someone with sleep possibly, or consume, like I'm still learning, but I could imagine that someone with like a less extroverted animal would need more time to think about what they want to say and what you want to bring across, and maybe consume more. And I'm like, okay, I've consumed enough, I can talk about it.
Mhm.
Like, to me it feels complete, but I kind of know that I'm just talking inside my little box with the knowledge that I collected for
When you're
my
talking,
interest.
you have like an end in mind.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, you know
Exactly.
exactly what your purpose and goal is, because I do too. Yeah, and I think in OPS, you know, they encourage you to compare yourself on a spectrum of other people. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, you could see yourself consuming, but how much of that are you really doing compared to everybody else around you?
Mm-hmm. I think what I found like very mind opening, and I kind of knew it, but I was just made aware of it, that I'm not really consuming less, but I thought about what am I consuming, and I have like this very limited interests, and I tend to consume things inside of these interests. Like, I could watch personality stuff all day, but then I didn't consume anything else that I would probably need to participate in conversations, and it,
Right. I feel very much the
yeah.
same way, you know, like, and I think that's why I thought it was play last, because sometimes I feel awkward with people socially. I'm like in the workplace, for example, I'm one of the quieter ones. I don't
Mm,
talk as much as the others because I just don't have as much to say. And it's like, why would people need to know that? It's you know, it's not important. I don't need to tell everybody this.
mm-hmm,
Um, and sometimes what other people are talking about, it's not in my box. It's not of interest to me. I don't have anything to contribute to the conversation.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. Uh,
yeah. Did you want to add something? I think I just interrupted you.
no, I know. I mean, yeah. So I
Um,
guess it's just interesting that we've kind of had a similar experience with that.
yeah, it's to me kind of interesting. I feel like I have two extremes. Either I don't say anything at all because I cannot really talk with them about, like, ironically, SI is like super like stereotyped as, oh my god, I do the dishes and I organize everything in my home. I cannot talk about people doing stuff at home because it doesn't interest me. So therefore, I cannot participate in a conversation. But whenever they mention kind of a field where I'm kind of interested, I feel like I could talk for hours, and it's like this
Oh yeah. Yeah, same
100% or
here.
0%.
I could talk, yeah, I could talk hours on typology, for example.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And also a thing that I find interesting that I realized kind of through my typing is that FI. So like, I would never bring up some of my very precious interests in front of work colleagues or something like that. I keep it to myself because the
Yep.
moment I say I like this, I make myself vulnerable, and I say,
Yep.
hey, okay, you can chill in it now. It doesn't hurt whatsoever.
Yep. I'm kind of the same way, you know, like there's parts of my FI that are kind of hidden, they're vulnerable. Like nobody at work knows that I'm into typology, you know? I don't tell anybody that
Mm-hmm.
because I think the ordinary person just isn't gonna get it. um
Yeah, like once I had this experience when like we kind of bordered onto talking about keyboards, and I've had like a phase where I was researching a lot about keyboards, and I kind of like and I brought it up like about like, yeah, I was doing research about it, blah blah blah, and I learned that there's like so much more about keyboards than you would think, and I found it interesting. And then the person said like, it's just keyboards, man. And that was definitely like an attack against my FI. Okay,
oh
okay,
yeah,
I will
yeah.
not talk
It's like,
about keyboards
ouch.
ever again.
That feels like, yeah, I'm the same way. It's sort of like if they say something negative, it's like, okay, I'm never talking about that topic with that person again. Yep,
Mhm.
always.
Yeah. So I'm even kind of picking out what topics I'm talking about with what person. So I'm kind of getting this like, okay, I'm sharing my identity with you, I'm sharing my FI with you, and I'm like kind of I need to feel like this person can be trusted with this information, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I guess, how do you relate to play second now that you know you have play second?
I can actually totally see it, like especially knowing I'm consumed last.
Mhm.
It's it's kind of like I was thinking, how do I take in information? And I came to the conclusion that a lot, if not all of the information that I take in is somehow through pinging back and forth with the tribe. Like they are explaining something to me, or even I feel like I need someone like a medium to do the consume for me and explaining it to me, and that way I'm kind of taking in the information. And also like discussions. For example, when I really wasn't sure about my type, I was like doing like mini debates where I would like throw my TE guesses at them, and like see where it leads us, kind of like this was my way of working through things, like pinging off the tribe, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, my friend Brian, he calls it consume cheating. He's a
That's mean.
yeah, he's an ESTJ, sleep last and consume third, and yeah, so he's also demon consumed. So
Mm.
like when you learn rather than reading a long book or article, you just ask somebody and you get the answer right away. And of course, some people end up being annoyed by that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that's how I found out too that I had Savior Play is that I do a lot of learning from others. I do a lot of pinging off of others, like when I was trying to understand my type, you know, other people they wouldn't ask for help at all, and they just did it all themselves.
To
But
be
yeah,
honest, I sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, to be honest, I the interesting thing is if I've just blended out my own perception of myself, because I was obviously, when I was trying really, really hard, I was seeing my demons. If I would have blended that out and I would just listen to the people at my workplace or some of my close friends, I would have probably arrived at the right type, funny enough. Um, so I don't know. Not, I think for me using play, I also in a way it made it easier for me to digest my final results from objective personality, but because I was like, hey, this is what this guy told about me. Oh, this is what this guy told about me. Now it all makes sense.
Mhm.
Well, I guess that's also the DE coming in, and TE, and and sharing like
Well,
ideas.
the TE wants to know what other people think.
Mm.
So they're gathering the reasons from other people.
Yeah, makes sense that it but I mean play is also part of like it's TE and NE, if I remember correctly, right? So that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense
yeah,
if that's
media and then
connected.
you put it together, so it'd be like I guess it'd be like reasons and more abstract concepts, kinda like typology.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think I use my
Possibly.
TENA play when I'm brainstorming ideas, from people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes actually quite a bit of sense. But for me personally, I don't know how it is for you. It always helps when like there's like a second person that can add like a little drop of an idea. And at times this little drop from this other person is around so that you don't spin in circles. You're like, oh, okay, this is a perspective I didn't think about, and then it gets the process kind of rolling. Whereas when I
Yep.
when I sit alone in my room and I need to come up with ideas, I'm like, oh my god.
Right, right. Because when I'm on my own, I may not I may not there may be some things I overlook that I don't even think of, um, and then another person kinda helps me or helps me make it a better idea or gives me stuff I never would have thought of alone. So, yes. Yeah. Yeah, so what about your sleep third?
Um, Funny, I actually was pretty sure I would be sleep savior actually.
Yeah, I did too. Yep, yep.
But
Yeah,
the
because
reason being,
I just feel like I'm in my head so much, and I
yep,
feel like I'm
yep.
always processing things, like,
Mm-hmm.
how do I feel about things, or how are things
Mm-hmm.
affecting me, and
Exactly. Like I'm feeling that I'm like in my head, like I'm a little pilot in front of a screen, and I'm kind of watching everything passing by, and I'm like putting everything together in my brain. Okay, this goes here, this goes there, and I kind of felt like, okay, I'm doing a lot of processing, but also like I watched a video from Dave and Shannon where he kind of talked about where sleep savers are complaining a lot about being tired and about being like, oh, I'm sick again and that kind of stuff. And I always complain about being tired, and I always tweet out, oh my god, I'm sick again, guys, I am sorry. And
yeah.
and I'm very aware of my like how I feel and how my body feels, and so I was like, yeah, probably sleep savior.
Mhm. Yeah, and I'm wondering too if maybe that some of that is just being SI, because it's like sensing, and then like it's an introverted function, so it's personal to you. I
Hmm. I don't know actually,
Yeah,
because
because
it
I've always been very sensitive to like how I'm feeling in my body, and it's something I'm aware of.
hmm, like it's kind of weird where I'm pretty aware of like my bodily sensations, if I'm hungry, if I want to sleep, whatever, whatever. But at the same time, I feel very out of touch with my body. I don't know
Okay.
if I can explain it properly. It's a bit weird, but it isn't necessarily connected with typology,
Well,
I guess. It's just
sometimes it's kind of like I'll feel something isn't quite right, but then I may not always know like the actual cause of it. Like when I was younger, it's like, well, why is my skin so dry? And then it was because I wasn't drinking enough water.
mm,
Something like that. So I could definitely feel the sensation, but then I didn't always maybe link it to the cause or the real reason why. Maybe because I had demon intuition. So yeah,
yeah, that's what I just wanted to say. That sounds really much like Demon Annie.
yeah. Well, and I think too is like sometimes I will push my body too far. Like sometimes I won't get enough sleep because
Hmm.
I will see things that I want to do and things that need to be done. So I'm still doing play above sleep. So it's not like the sleep last where I'm like super unaware or like sleep last, like they'll sometimes have really big crashes and they'll literally make themselves really sick or
Hmm.
seriously hurt themselves. So I don't go as far as they do, but sometimes I'll still try to push it a little too far. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And it's kind of funny, like when I got my audio from Dave back, he also said like my blast play is kind of sort of tying in with my ADHD sort of behavior that they observe,
Mhm.
which is yeah, again, like the typical, yeah, I'm staying awake till 3 a.m. because I found a super shiny thing that I want to explore, which could be both play or just a demon consume swing, one of the two. But it's like
Mhm.
the spark of excitement that oh my god, like I remember very vividly, for example, where I was just going through YouTube and I was getting super tired, but then suddenly I was watching a video on Japanese and I was like, oh my God, I want to learn Japanese. And I suddenly downloaded the lab and I started learning Japanese. Like, I don't know how that happened, but I
Yeah.
just didn't sleep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had nights too where I've stayed up way later than I should have because something interesting captured my attention, and I
Yeah,
don't
that's
I don't have ADHD, but I'll still have moments where it's like I'll stay up late because I'm consuming something interesting. So in that way, I was surprised I was consumed last, but now I can see why I'm consumed last because sometimes what I will consume is kind of narrow and it's kind of in one box.
mm,
Um and am I really taking in stuff like in an NF kind of way because my consume is NF. You
mm.
know, like am I really making like new changes in my whole lifestyle, and I'm not. It's
No.
kind of still really the same thing, it's
Like, I don't even understand what that would look like. You're just explaining it, and I'm like, what the heck is that? I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah,
Interesting, interesting. Like, I
like I
feel
know
like,
some of the savior consumes they go through a lot of different careers and they go through a lot of different hobbies. And for me, it's kind of like I'd rather just, like if I have a job I'm happy with and it pays well, I just kind of tend to just want to stay in that job and get good at it and
mm,
um maybe make changes within the job I have or even my hobbies like the hobbies I have they've tended to be hobbies for a long time. Now sometimes I'll go through periods where I go more in depth with my hobbies than others, but it's like some of these consume people's like once they consumed all they want to know, they forget about it and they go to something else completely different.
mhm. That's what I found interesting that I kind of found out recently through the videos that they are consuming everything. They're seeing like something random in newspapers could be totally unrelated from what they're interested in. They'll still be like, oh, that's that I don't know. I would just go on and consume that, and I find it so
Yeah.
fascinating. I thought everyone was doing the same thing as we do.
Yeah, and it's like, and I think, you know, for me, it's a lot more narrowed down. Like I'm probably not going to do that unless unless there's some reason I need to, like it's like I think it might be relevant or I needed to know it for class or for work or somebody asked me for that information.
Mm. Like for me, it even comes to a point, like it wasn't always that bad, but I guess internet kind of ruined me to the point where people are like, hey, check out this music video, like check out this song. And especially when I'm like mentally drained and I'm looking at that link and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to listen to a song I don't know. And it's just like, and I know it's stupid. It's like 2 to 3 minutes of just watching this video, but when I'm tired or when I'm not in the mood, I just cannot bring myself to do it. It's so stupid.
Yeah, yeah, it's like no more, please don't make not.
Yeah.
Yep, I get it. I get it. Yeah. Yeah, so what about the sexual modalities, the MF? Yeah.
I've been thinking about this quite a bit actually. Okay, feminine TE by itself isn't really surprising. I'm more like it is obviously if I have feminine TE, I would have masculine FI, but I fail to see it in my life. Like I don't see my FI being super masculine. Like, and I kind of tried to think about how that would manifest. Like the only thing I can come up with because I've watched the video where they talked about like FI being shovey on yourself. So that would make sense. Like I'm pretty harsh on myself and like have pretty high like moral demands, but I don't really care that much about if other people meet the same demands. And I'm not sure if that's what masculine FI is
I don't know.
or
I'm thinking maybe that might be more masculine TE because it's other people. Although if it's values though, then that's F. I mean, masculine TE would be, I think it would be like this is the way it works. This is the way everybody should do it because this is what works.
true. Yeah, okay, makes
Well,
sense. I am definitely not like shovey on the spectrum like that because I'm always kind of trying to keep so yeah, that's my opinion, but I could be totally wrong. I'm just giving you a suggestion.
yep.
If you don't want to
Mhm.
take it, it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, and that's it's kind of like, well, you know, yeah, here's how I think we should do it. And but if somebody comes with a different way, yeah, sure, I could see how that way would work too. And yeah, I'm not usually shovey there. I guess where my masculine FI comes out, it's kind of like, well, I have a good sense of like, or so I want to think, I have a good sense of who I am as a person and what I value in life and what I don't value in life. And
Hmm.
somebody if somebody like hurts my FI or values, then I can get shovey that way. Like I can get defensive, like please don't shove there and but it's kind of more reactive, I think,
Hmm.
because it's a demon.
I see. Interesting. 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 Like, well, that's the thing that I was kind of like getting tripped up on because I don't feel like maybe because my values are not attacked very often, but so I'm kind of missing the sensory data from my memory to back that up that it actually happens because it is not really happening to me often. I'm at times, but at times when I notice myself getting like attacked in my FI, I can at times like sense in like it's you can you can tell I'm like kind of trying to te my fi to kind of logically explain what's going on, and it's so difficult. And also thinking back of how I felt, it's so difficult to explain like yeah, I mean, I guess I can get kind of shabby, but it is really not often, I would say. um I think like mm, I kind of would guess like trying to figure out stuff about myself. um and also I kind of like I watched Dave talk about like driving very deep into your emotional world and so kind of exploring the darkness inside, and I kind of can relate to that aspect of fi where I, like go very deep if I'm already feeling something that I really dive into this emotion. Like a part of me is like, oh my god, don't feel like that, it's stupid, it doesn't make sense, but the other part is really like
I
reinforcing
think one
going
thing
into it.
that they said like about masculine FI is that it has a harder like it tends to hold on to emotions longer and it's less changeable, whereas feminine FI, it's kind of more it changes quicker.
Wouldn't make sense. Like for me I it's difficult to say without having a direct comparison what quick changing and slow changing is, but to me it also always feels like whenever my fi like my emotions come bursting out, whenever I'm like in a demon state, I feel like it's very overpowering, and I can't really decide, hey, I will not cry now, I will not have these emotions anymore. They just like stick with you until they're processed in a way.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I can be the same way because it's like once I'm in a bad emotional state, sometimes I feel like I'm going to be in that state forever, which I know is
Yeah.
not true, but it seems that way.
mm. So Actually, I could kind of see that one working. I think what is a bit confusing to me is actually a masculine SI. I'm like,
Okay.
what? I'm like, what? How? Especially with like this mentioning of masculine savior SI has such a great memory. I'm like, no, I don't have as great of a memory as those people that just showed up that could be like, yeah, this bridge is so and so many meters long. And on this date, on this time, I did this and that. I'm like, no, that's not me.
Okay. What was it that I don't know if you watched the class on Tiger Woods, but he's masculine SI first, and he was like that. Like he remembers all these golf games he did and the scores and who
Yeah.
he played and the weather conditions and it's almost like an autistic savant, kind of like
Yeah.
very I'm not saying that he is an autistic savant, but no, mine isn't like that either, but what I do relate to about masculine sensory is where I'm gonna shove, I'm gonna shove like on like facts that are incorrect, and I'm not gonna
Mm.
I'm not gonna shove like on concepts.
Okay, that's true. That's absolutely true. Like I can remember like in one group when someone was spreading incorrect information about what the functions mean. I got so triggered. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, listen out, you're saying it wrong. Let me tell
Well,
you, let me teach you.
or sometimes, like if they use the wrong word for something, that can bother me. Even though I think I might know what they meant by that, because sometimes if you use the wrong word, then people will, you know, interpret it differently because you use the wrong word for something. So,
Interesting. Like that is actually not really a struggle that I personally have like with words. It could be because I'm like so it like I've been on social media like actively producing content on social media for like since 2009, so I've been around here a while, and I've met a lot of people who didn't always try to find the right way to say things. And I'm also like with the profession that I have, like I'm working with a lot of younger people who also don't always know what they're saying. So I'm kind of like, I think I used to be like more um like that when I was young, like when I was pretty young, and and that was basically correcting everyone. But
mhm,
like as I am right now, I at times
yep.
don't even notice.
Well,
And
I think
yeah,
I've gotten a little less, less like that now that I've gotten older. But I think when I was younger, it's like, I'd correct, little things that they said wrong, and now I don't do it so much. But what I have a problem with sometimes is sometimes I will take things too literally. Um,
mm-hmm.
like somebody says, like all apples are red or something, like, no, no, they're not. There's some that are green. It's just, people that make like overgeneralizing statements.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will always find exceptions. I say, well, what about this one? What about that one? And like so.
For me, it's at times like I'm streaming actively, and whenever someone does a joke in chat, I'm usually the last person to realize it's a joke, and I'm like kind of replying normally to it, or I'm like, huh, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Can you explain? They're like, oh my god, Arya, it was a joke.
Mhm. Yeah, I sometimes have trouble with that too, or are they just being sarcastic, or do they really mean it? And
I think I've actually got a lot, like I think I'm actually pretty good at it, like in real life when I see the person and the way they say things, etc. But over text, I find it very difficult because you don't have
a
any
lot
like,
harder over text because you don't see their expressions, or you don't
yep,
hear their tone of voice.
exactly.
Yep.
So in real life, the only thing that I really have experience of when it comes to sort of stuff like that, when they like jokingly tease you, and it kind of like I only realize it's a joke after a few seconds after my FI is like, oh, it was a joke. Okay.
Yeah. So what about your feminine NE? How do you see that working?
In my audio recording, Dave actually explained it a little bit to me how they think I have feminine NE. So I wrote this super long doc, like I think 4 pages or something long. It was my Google Doc. Because I like did a table for every coin. This is how I could be OE. This is how I could be OI. This is how
Oh,
I could be
I did that
DE. This is
too.
no. No.
I mean, I don't know if that's feminine, but I think it's just demon, I'm having trouble. I think I have trouble narrowing it down to like one pattern, I can
Yeah, but Dave said like feminine intuition is like more shaky. Like he has the same thing about his NI, even though it's a savior, that he is like kind of shaky on some of his patterns, and that he saw the same kind of shakiness with the fact that I'm like, I don't know, is it this one or that one, this one or that one?
Yeah,
I'll put both of them
oh
in
yeah,
there.
I mean, I'm like that. It's like, well, I think I'm seeing a pattern, but how can I be sure? Because, if you get new facts, the pattern can easily change.
Exactly.
And I think masculine intuition, I guess they would stick to their pattern more. Like, nope, this is the pattern
Mm.
I saw. I'm not changing it.
Yeah, exactly. So they might not be very good possibly at seeing the pattern, and it might be hard for them, but possibly not as shaky. Like, I've been studying typology for 10 years now. I still don't know what type I am. But
Yeah.
interesting that we did the same thing.
I know. We're thinking things so similarly. This is why I wanted to do this. Like I wanted to talk to somebody of my exact same 512 type. Because you're only the second person that I've met in the objective personality community. There is one other, but she's not very active at all. And um, so
Oh,
yeah. Now, just one more thing. Have you heard about the social types?
oh boy. Oh boy, the social type. Um, so I'll be honest with you, I saw the social types and I was like, why are they adding another thing? We have enough
Yeah.
points.
I know it's like so now are there 512 types or are there 2048 types? I mean,
And I actually like I looked at your channel before interview, and this is one of the videos that I've watched. And I was like kind of nodding along. I was like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'll be honest, I didn't really go into consume mode on that
Mhm.
because like I keep procrastinating on that. I'm like, okay, I'm mentally busy with understanding the coins, still understanding myself. I don't want to get into this social stuff
Okay.
yet. But I will get to it. I plan on asking. I plan on asking if they type me as anything, because I know there's like someone else who got their social type back in the typing results. I'm like going to, hey, did you write something down? It's okay if you didn't, but like I'm kind of curious. But I don't really plan on driving too far into the rabbit hole yet.
Yeah, because I think that they are seeing something there, and it does explain why, people that have the exact same 512 type might still, might be different. But I still feel like there's some missing information there because I feel like there's some overlap between the social how they're describing the social types and then some of the coins that they're already using
Mm,
effective personality like how how is friends different from DE or play? You know, they seem kind of similar to me or
Mm, yeah, I understand what you mean. Um, yeah, I see, I don't feel comfortable guessing and saying anything when I don't have the sensory facts yet to support my opinion. So I would feel like I'm making fool of myself. So I don't want to say too much about it. Like I know of someone who is actually an IP but thinks he might be a social 4, which I found interesting. So I guess there might be something there.
yeah. Yeah, because I know that there's a couple IPs that they got typed by Dave and Shannon as fours, and then there's an EJ that's a type one, and so they're not the same thing, but I'm still having trouble telling the differences apart. Like if I'm going to type somebody, you know, how do I know that what I'm seeing is flexing, or how do I know what I'm seeing is DI? And like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what's to be assigned to which coin?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question, and I don't think I can really answer it at the moment. Like because I am not too much into looking at a new system, and also I cannot look into Dave and Chan's head and know what they are like thinking about when they are now typing people with this new concept in mind. But it seems like a fairly new concept, so I assume that they will still do some changes to it over time, and just see like I could imagine like when they type people, they kind of do a statistics thing in the back and kind of see if they can see some patterns when they collect enough data. So I guess if they collected enough data, maybe they can get more insights on
Yeah, because I'm
what they can
sure
change.
it's one of those things that I think in the future that they're gonna improve on it as they get more and more information. They're gonna be able to probably be more accurate typing people and have more refined definitions of it.
Yeah, the only thing that my SI is sort of crying big because of this fear of I will like build this understanding of these social types, and then they will change it, and I need to just destroy this entire SI structure that I built, and it's yeah. They're like, no, don't take it away.
Or it would be like, what if we're different social types? Then are we really type twins anymore? If we don't have
Yeah,
the social.
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Did do you have any suspicions what your social type might
Well,
be?
I'm thinking may I've gone back and forth. I'm thinking maybe a 3 now. At earlier on, I thought it was a 4. I interviewed somebody and he thought it was a 4 because he's like, "Well, everybody in the OPS community seems to like you and you seem to have a lot of friends." And I'm like, "Really?" Um, but but then with type 3, I kind of related to, wanting to specialize and master
Mm-hmm.
something, but what I'm not so sure of is like, am I responsibility at the bottom? I guess that's another
Mm,
issue I have with the social types that they have to be in this certain order, and why can't you be friends and then responsibility and then or it's like some of these orders don't exist.
mm,
And I'm not
yeah.
sure about flexing either because it's kind of like, yeah, I want to be like really good at what I do, but I don't have to be at the very top. I don't have to crush everybody and
Mm.
then and then like with friends, it's like, well, yeah, I care about people, but I don't really have a lot of friends. I- it's just, yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah. Um
Yeah.
yeah, have you thought about which one you might be?
I only looked like at one video where they like kind of briefly went through what they are, and I think I was like between 2 and 3 actually. Was
Okay, yeah.
probably 3.
And that was funny because I was also thinking for a while, well, I could be a 2 because I feel like I'm responsible for all these different things, even though I don't wanna be. I wanna be able to just specialize and narrow down, so am I but then
Mm,
I showed a video to somebody, I answered a series of questions, and I showed it to this, chat group that I'm in, and then I had a few people that said, I think you're a type 3 based on what you said," so
mm,
but I think I had one person that thought it was a 2 and somebody who thought it was a 4, so, uh,
mm.
I think I think kind of all the types except for 1. But I could be a
Yeah,
1 just because, people type themselves upside down, so
yeah, exactly. Well, I think the reason why everyone is getting different like social types for you might also be similar to why nobody can really objectively type when they get into objective personality. They need to get like their understanding of the principles right. And if the principle is still pretty new and we don't have that many videos to dive into and see how it manifests in celebrities and that kind of stuff, so the understanding is still pretty limited and you're just left asking, do you have friends or do you not have friends, so I guess
well,
that's where a
I
lot of
think the
confusion comes from.
terminology isn't very good because I think the word friends, it's gonna lead to mistypes, there's gonna be people that think they can't be a 4 because they don't have a lot of friends, or people that place a high importance on friendship, so they type themselves as a 4 and they're not a 4. I mean, and then
Mm,
responsibility too, because you can be responsible in a more specialized area on a smaller scale. You're not like responsible for everything in the whole company. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So, but I also guess that's kind of us, like um SI saviors, like really needing this differentiation and like spell it out for us in a way.
mhm,
Possibly.
yeah,
So we're more like, okay, but where's the proof though? You didn't define your terms properly. It's like so st from
yeah,
us to say that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if they came up with, like I said, they came up with better terminology, like rather, you know, and when I think of flexing too, I think of like a Gumby. You know what a Gumby is? Like a like a piece of
No.
rubber that bends and stretches in different ways, and I mean, like
Ah,
flexible, and that
interesting.
is not and that's not at all what their definition of flexing is. So,
My association with someone flexing his muscles, like the a little bit of
like showing
like
off, you mean?
like showing off exactly. It's
Like
like,
how,
yeah,
how big,
I'm flexing my skills.
oh, okay, yeah, 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 yeah. I suppose you could see it that way too. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because then that would make sense. Yeah, like how they're using the word.
Mm, I guess that's what they were inspired by, but I understand why you thought something different too.
Like so yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to add about your
Uh,
type or insights you had or anything you learned?
um, I don't know. I'm like kind of still trying to process a little bit. Like I'm at this phase where I'm like very looking at myself and I'm trying to relate everything I do to my type, which is like it is raising a bit of insecurity because I know that not every single action that I do must be related to my type, and I also know um yeah that there are like some things that are not influenced by your wiring, you could say, but it's like still kind of difficult to move away like from his thinking. And I guess that's because my typing results is still pretty fresh, so I always try to catch myself. I guess in me using TE or me using SI or me like having anxiety, and where does the anxiety come from? Is it really missing information? Like, I'm kind of trying to puzzle everything together at the moment. And like today I had like another moment where I was like, I can't really explain that with my animals or my function stack. So guess I will try to solve the puzzle along the way somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
it was. Sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it was very, very fun actually talking to you because I for some reason had the assumption that we might be very different, but like talking to you, I think we have a lot of similarities actually.
We do have a lot of similarities, yeah. Well, I was expecting we would, because we're the exact same 512 type, but
Mm,
there's still some, there's still some differences. So
I
I, I
mean,
I think like maybe like in how we relate to FI was a little different, and
mm,
you had mentioned about ADHD, I don't have that, but
mm,
I still
fair
have
enough.
moments where I feel like I have trouble paying attention or focusing, or oppositely, where I'll hyper focus on something.
Mm, yeah. Um, I yeah. See, I wanted to say something. I forgot. I forgot. I wanted to say something. So we were talking about us having like exactly okay. I wanted to say that it could also be like I'm like also a big fan of other like systems, and
Mhm.
it could also be that we have a different enneagram, for example, and that could also like
Oh, sure, sure, yeah. Do you know your Enneagram type?
yeah, I'm a 9-wing 1 self-preservation slash SO.
Okay, I'm a 5-wing 6. Um, but I think I have 9 in my tri-type. Either 9 or
Interesting.
1. I got typed by Enneagrammer. Have you heard of it?
Mm,
Yeah. So they but I don't I still have doubts about a couple parts of their type. So they typed me as 5-wing 6, and then tri-type was 2-wing 3, 9-wing 1, and they typed me
hmm,
as social sexual, but I don't think I'm social sexual. I think I'm most likely social self-pres. And and I'm not sure, like, my gut fix, like, if it could be
mm,
1, like a 1-wing
mm,
9 or a 9-wing 1, or I mean, the 9-1 are both pretty close. And
huh,
even, like, with the 2, well, like, some people thought that I had a 3 fix and not a 2 fix,
mm,
people so it kinda
same.
depends on, I think, who types you in Enneagram. I've gotten typed by
Mhm.
a couple different people in Enneagram, and I mean, I've gotten different core types. I mean, I got typed by somebody as a 6-wing 5, and then somebody else typed me as a 1-wing 9. So,
Oh man. Oh man,
but
that's
I think Enneagrammers approach, they're a bit more detailed, and they kind of really go into
huh.
like the different triads and stuff. And
Mm,
I can see 5-wing 6 making sense, just because I identify with being a head type. I identify with, like, I have the rejection triad, and um, the competency triad, and these other things.
hmm. Interesting. I actually got never like officially typed with Enneagram. It was like basically my own self-study, you could say, and I kind of tried to look in different Discord servers, like people to talk about who knew more about Enneagram than I do, and like kind of getting their insights on what they think I am, and it was very like enlightening in some ways. I originally thought I'm a 4-wing 5 actually, and I really related to the social 4
Mhm.
because of my demon FI, I now realize, and that then realized that that wasn't really what the 4 was about. So I kind of was between 6 and 9. 6 because of my typical observer anxiety, because I always feel very anxious. I don't know what is going on, and I always need reassurance from other people that everything will be okay, everything will be fine. Um, but then I kind of settled on 9 because like of some of my self because of the things that people told me that I've worked through the years that are like my biggest struggles, and it just made the most sense to me. But would be interesting what like a professional quote unquote would type me as.
Yeah. Have you ever been typed by a professional, or is it just like your own self-typing?
No, I've actually never been really typed by a professional, because when I went into Enneagram, everyone was like, you don't get your type by other people because it's like a very personal experience, like because it's your main fear sort of thing, that you are supposed to experience it yourself and see it for yourself. Maybe I'll get typed one day, but like as of right now, it's not like my top priority or something. It's just
Mhm.
like something I keep in mind, and I think it has been very fitting so far, but I am always very aware that I could be wrong about it, actually.
Yeah, because I kind of changed my typing a few times, and I mean, I think, with Enneagram, there's a lot of different approaches to it. So even if you get professionally typed, honestly, it could lead you to more confusion, because even the professionals will take different approaches to it.
Mm, like, yeah, what
And
I
I think
cannot try.
I kind of see Enneagrammers kind of like the OPS of Enneagram, because I think their typing is more detailed, like because they will go
Mm,
into your full instinct stacking and your full tri-type, and then the wings on your tri-type, and whereas some just kind of give you your type and maybe your wing, and that's it. So
huh. Yeah, yeah, interesting. So I kind of did my own research about the triads and kind of stuff, and I kind of tried to look at my life, but that's the issue, because I don't know. Like, is it like with objective personality where you cannot see yourself and therefore need someone else to point out, yeah, this is what you're running away from? That's what I'm kind of get hung up with. Like, is this approach of you need to find out your own Enneagram type, is this the correct approach or not? I don't
uh
know.
yeah. Well, I got to get going pretty soon, but it was really great talking to you.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
was was very fun. Was very fun.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank
Um,
you so much for being a guest.
sure thing. Sure thing. It was very
Yeah.
nice. And also kind of reassured me that I probably am not mistyped or anything, that we actually are type twins. Like, it kind of makes sense more to me now.
Yeah, yeah, same here. Yeah, it's great to be able to talk to somebody on my same type, because there just aren't that many. I mean, there
Yeah,
aren't many ISTJs in the OPS community, and then it's even harder to find one
really.
that's identical.
Really, like, it's so funny because again, I got my results back a few days ago, and you approached me immediately, so I was like, oh my god, so many ISTJs. And someone under my post also was like, oh, I'm also an ISTJ, and a friend of mine knows an ISTJ, so I was like, okay, apparently there are many
Yeah,
ISTJs in the
but they're
community.
not exactly the same. They might be, like I know an ISTJ that's like the same as me, but the middle two animals are switched, and then I know like another one that's like the same as me, but double feminine, so there's like
Hmm.
one or two coins that are different, but yeah, I do know a few that are really close.
I would definitely watch some of your interviews with the other ISTJs just to see kind of the difference.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
would be very fascinating just
yeah,
to see how would a double
yeah.
feminine
I
ISTJ would
would
look
check.
like.
Yeah, I'd definitely check those out, and then I have some other interviews too with ESTJs, so that might be interesting to compare and contrast, because then you got the decider observer coin. And
Yeah,
I'm going to
it
be
might.
doing one with Jason that's coming up. So Jason is the same type as me, except he's TESI. So
Oh,
the only coin we have different is observer decider. So
excited to see that, because
yeah,
we are with our animal segments actually pretty close to an EJ, and it would be so interesting to see the contrast.
yep, yep. So that'll be coming up.
Ah, okay. Excited to see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, thank you very much for
Yeah,
having
thank
me
you
here.
very
It
much.
was very fun.
Yep, same here.
If you want to talk, my DMs are open for you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, please keep in touch. Yep. Yep. And to
Well,
all of you that are listening in, if you want to hear more interviews, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for notifications for new videos that come up. Have a great day, you all. Bye.
bye.